Have you fallen out of the habit of gathering together with local believers? Has COVID removed that from you and you have yet to engage in a Christian community?
It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marked by dust and sweat and blood.
From Men in the Arena, it's Equipping Men in 10. Our conviction is to call you into the arena of manhood, call you out of the faceless, nameless bleachers, and call you up to be the best version of you, because when a man gets it, everyone wins. Enjoy today's episode.
Men in the Arena Army, we salute you. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast. This is Equipping Men in 10. I am Jim Ramos, your host of Spotify's #1 podcast for Christian men. Thank you for helping us become that, by the way, guys. This is our first equipping episode that has been recorded in the fall of 2022, and I want to talk to you about something that's really important, and you need to understand this, guys. Like right now, as I speak, we have 100, this is a conservative number, 100,000 men and women who are what we would call engaged followers on all of our social media platforms, YouTube, podcast, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, on and on. So these guys and gals are engaged followers. The problem is we want to take our men from an engaged follower to a committed participant or an active member. I don't like using that word member because you don't have to join our ministry. But we want to move you from this point to this point, and we are passionate about your personal growth. We're passionate about you becoming God's best version of you, and we deeply, deeply believe that you cannot move from an engaged follower to a committed participant without getting in some kind of form of community. Now, I know a lot of you listening to this are not involved in a Christian community. No, our Instagram page is not a community. Our forum on Facebook is a little bit more community-minded, but you don't have interaction with guys on a very deep level. It's very safe to kind of lurk back on social media. But we want to pull you into our community. We want you to be engaged in our community so that you can grow into your best version. So what do I mean by that? Well, here's what I mean. In Hebrews chapter 10, verses 24 and 25, the Bible says, "Let us consider how to spur one another on to love and good deeds." Then it continues in verse 25 and it says, "Let us not forsake the gathering together as some are in the habit of doing." Have you fallen out of the habit of gathering together with local believers? Has COVID removed that from you and you have yet to engage in a Christian community? Now, I know a lot of you guys get really weirded out when I say you need to go to church. When I say church, I'm talking about being involved in a Christian community where you can give of your gifts and give of your strengths and steward those areas where you're strong. It's a place for you to serve. It's a place for you to worship. It's a place for you to learn more about God. Do you have a place to fellowship with other believers in Christian community? That is the question. Have you forsaken the gathering together? You know, Jesus, the night before he was crucified in John 13, 34 and 35 said, "This is how they, the world, will know that you are my disciples or you are my followers, that you love one another." The word that we use in the Bible is the Greek word koinonia. It's the word for fellowship. It's the word for Christian community. So having your bros over and watching football on Sundays, that's not Christian community. That's just hanging out with your bros. Christian community or fellowship is when you come together under the banner of Jesus to grow in your relationship with him and lift Jesus up in your lives. That is what we're talking about. You know, in Psalm chapter, the 133rd Psalm, the psalmist wrote, "Behold how good and blessed or pleasant it is when the brothers come together in unity." And this is what we're talking about, guys. We're saying we're going to stop isolating ourselves from the Christian community. Call that church, call that whatever you want. I'm going to come together and I'm going to be involved in a group of other believers in a Christian community. And so if you're not involved in that, I want to challenge you to get involved in a Christian community, to move from an engaged follower. You may not even be an engaged follower. You may be a passive lurker. Move from an engaged follower or passive lurker to an active an active, committed participant. So here we are, we're in September. By the time this podcast comes out, it'll be mid-September. We are launching many of our virtual teams that operate through Zoom. That's our medium. And we have some unbelievable humans, unbelievable guys. They're called our national team captains. They lead those teams. And we want you to join one of those teams. We want you to get engaged in active fellowship. So guys, I want to challenge you to that end. This summer, we spent the entire summer interviewing our national team captains, and we saw all of our groups grow. But man, would have 100,000 people engaged in this ministry. Surely we can get 5,000 men to engage in Christian community via one of these Zoom teams. So here's how you get involved, guys. You go to our website, meninthearena.org. You click on the homepage, you click the Join Our Program button. It'll give you a list of team captains, when their teams meet, and what time. And I know that will vary based on where you live. If you click on one of those team captain names, it'll open up so that you can email them and they will follow up. They've been trained to follow up with you, and they are passionate about this ministry. Guys, we really want to ask you, beg you, plead with you, step beyond an engaged follower and get actively involved. Become a committed participant. Sign up, join that button. So a lot of other organizations that I know that do a podcast and have a similar model to ours, you sign up and then the podcast leader coaches you weekly and charges between $100 and $150. And you can go check that out for yourself and verify that. We aren't doing that. We are a nonprofit organization that we care more about you becoming your best version than us living in a big house somewhere in the Northwest. So what you do is you sign up. When you actually join the team, you will purchase one of our books. That's $15 a book approximately, and that book will last you 3 months. And we have 5 books that will take you through the curriculum. So for like $15, every 3 months, you're a part of this program, and you sit at the feet of 2 amazing men who will be your guide and your captains through this journey. So guys, do not hesitate. Go to our website at meninthearena.org. Click that Join Our Program button now and start the journey to becoming your best version. While you're at our website, make sure you get my free book. It's Tell Them What Great Fathers Tell Their Sons and Daughters. It's a free resource for you. You're going to love this book. It's a great way to spend time growing spiritually with your children and saying things that will build them and elevate them so they don't walk around as a bunch of wounded adults. So you will love this book. So make sure you do that, guys. Until next time, feel wet sand on the arena floor. Hear the deafening roar of the crowd. Taste the sweetness of victory. Smell the stench of battle. Get in the game. Get dirty. Grind it out. Sign up for a team and be a man.
You've been listening to the Men in the Arena podcast. If you hunger to be your best version, then join thousands of men from around the world in our Men in the Arena forum on Facebook. This is the best place to have open discussions around the topic of biblical manhood. Make sure to explore our website at meninthearena.org, sign up for the weekly equipping blast, and take advantage of our many free resources designed to help you become your best version of a man. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast. Remember, when a man gets it, everyone wins.